Hi, welcome to David Boles' Human Meme. Today we're going to talk about reflections in a blind soul. What is a soul? It is the being of us, the inner energy that guides us into being a right person. It's tenuous. A soul can be faint. A soul always needs structure and enforcement and development. What is the benefit of a soul? A right soul makes us kinder, more patient, and better to understand each other because there's an expectation set that we believe in community and not the dungeon. Must we believe in a religion to tender our soul? No. A soul, I think, doesn't require a bit of organized faith. As long as you believe in the self and your own righteousness, the soul is viable and necessary. How we are fed is what we believe. The indoctrination of children into this ideal is what keeps many modern religions going in the ancient terms. Now, if we do not know what a soul is or what the expectation of having one is in the end, we become blind and deficited until we experience more than what we do not know. A meme is a form of a soul. How we share expectations and values is how we nourish each other's soul. Shared, explained, exposed, all part of this nurturing process. We share tender moments. That is very important to soul retention and growth. Revelations of spirit bring new understanding and purpose to each other and the self. Bright, unconditional joy. Those should be our universal temptations when it comes to the soul. Now I'll tell you a little story. Happened last week on social media, Twitter, to be specific, where you have to have conversations in 140 characters or less. Really impossible. You make general points and then you try to explain yourself in the timeline as time goes on. I had posted the text of a tweet basically saying that children learn through imitation. That's an Aristotle theory, not really new or unexpected. And attached to that bit of text, I had shared an image, a photograph, from 1930s and the American South. The photo showed a young black child, maybe 4 or 5, sitting backward on a tricycle, wearing shorts and a shirt. A young white boy, dressed in a mini police uniform, was leaning against a whitewashed wall, staring back at the black child on the trike. It was a striking photo. The tension was high right there in these children, 4 or 5 years old, in an 86-year-old photograph, echoing the history of slavery and civil rights in America, and the future of the black and blue riots and shootings and murders that we are trying to cope with today in America. So a woman replied to that tweet. This woman used her real name on Twitter. She was white, blonde, glasses, appeared to be a liberal set from the East Coast, all of that based on her public biography. And she replied to me, to that tweet and the black and white photograph, that she lets her young son play with a gun, a toy gun, and there's no harm in it because it's only a toy. What? My tweet and photo had nothing to do with a gun or gun rights or toys. Why was she bringing up firearms? What was her liberal point? I replied to her and asked her where she draws the line with her son on violence, pretend or intended. She did not reply. Now, she started this with me. I didn't go seek her out. She read my tweet, jumped into a conversation that I wasn't sharing directly with her, which is fine, but she clearly had an agenda, and I obviously wasn't playing along into her greater plans. So I replied to her again, assuring her that as a child of the Midwest, I had toy guns and real guns growing up, and I ended up just fine. Well, maybe. We'll see. I also told her our fireworks were M80s, cherry bombs, we used to set off in the ditch as we blew stuff up. And way back then, 40 years ago, you could buy M80s over the counter back then, and we did. By the bucketful. And how insane was that? Where were our parents? They were right behind us, paying for the M80s. And in case you don't know, an M80 has the power of 1/8 of a stick of dynamite. All that power right between your fingers, and ripe for the blowing off of all fingerprints and thumb. So July 4th was the yearly opportunity to stock up on firepower that we made last the whole year long. Only a few of us ended up knocked out or in a hospital. A bottle rocket was fired up my shirt one summer, and it exploded when it hit my chin. I have no memory of the event except that I was told what had happened because I had been knocked unconscious. No, we didn't go to the hospital. A little Vicks Vapo rub on the burn on my chest where the bottle rocket ran up. Yes, I know, no Vicks Vapo rub on a burn. But I was deemed just fine by my temporary stepfather. So, back to Twitter. I asked the mother again about drawing the line with her son when it comes to violence, real or perceived. And I asked her what she'd do if her son wanted to, say, learn how to tie a noose. And she replied. She was appalled by the question. I replied back. I asked, why? Why appalled? A noose is only a length of rope with a knot, right? Where's the harm? Toy gun, piece of rope, same idea, yes? The threat is in the action, not the reaction, right? Then she asked me about other uses for a noose. I replied by asking her, does a gun have any other use than for killing? She didn't want to talk anymore. That exchange made it clear that some parents among us, in order to fit in with their children's fitfulness, will find a way to excuse violence and its learned memes by naming it as a harmless learning tool, an experimentation, a boyhood experience for the random sharing on public social media. Well, children learn by imitation and experimentation, which clearly explains why so many children under the age of 5 are perfectly capable of taking up a gun and successfully killing someone with it. Happens all the time. It's in the newspaper. And why? Where does that talent for shooting come from? Well, children are smart, and they learn quickly. But they have no set sense of morality or faith or the consequence of the soul. What we teach each other is vital. Do we learn negotiation or intimidation? Do we make our point with the tip of a sword or at the end of a gun barrel? Our children have blind souls that require the enlightenment of not just their direct caregivers, but the entire community of minds and value sets as well. A soul is not fed alone. A soul is shared property, a cementing of values, a mooring of expectation against a humiliating, violent tide. Do we want our children to grow up with a fitful soul forged in playtime? Our children need a clear vision of not just their soul, but every soul around them. Reflexive in reaction, reflective in the tending. Thank you for listening. Be a human being.